Hi guys, this is our first screencast in analysis writing for the AP. Today we're going to talk about how to analyze prompts and texts to effectively write analysis essays on the AP. First, let's talk about what to look for in the prompt. When you look at a prompt, I want you to consider the occasion, aka the context or the time and place, to connect the occasion to the topic and the purpose of the text. Remember in Soapstone, the occasion is where and when the text was written. On the AP, they will always give you the date that the text was written. They will also, if you look at the prompt, give you small clues such as where or when the author lived, the time period, their location. For the example, in the 2007 prompt, it describes the author's reaction or response to Salman Rushdie, who was an author of Indian descent who had moved to England. They give you this background so that you can consider Sanders, the author's perspective on Rushdie's ideas. Next, consider the topic that the author is writing about. This almost always comes at the end of an analysis prompt. For the example, in the 2007 prompt, it asks you to write an essay in which you analyze the strategies Sanders uses to develop his perspective about moving. The topic of this reading is moving. They don't give you the purpose, also known as what the author is saying about moving, but you know that his topic is moving. So from there, you can work backwards to determine the purpose. Finally, in the prompt, focus on the author and the title. Refer to the author by the author's last name. For example, in the 2007 prompt, don't refer to the writer as Scott or Russ, because you're not buddies. Refer to him by his last name, Sanders. And record the title of the text, or I should say annotate the title of the text. The punctuation will tell you whether it's a large work, like a book, or a small work, like an essay. Pay attention to the title so that you can use it in the context of your essay. Now, after identifying these important parts of the prompt, you're going to need to read the essay or the selection from an essay, the text that they provide you. This is what I want you to annotate and look for while reading the essay, the purpose. In the 2007 prompt, they give you the topic of moving, but while reading, you need to determine what Sanders is saying about moving. What is his purpose in writing about moving? Next, look for tone words that illustrate the author's attitude towards the topic. Usually you want to annotate these words with a plus or a minus for positive or negative words. If it's a more complex tone that's not explicitly positive or negative, look for tone words that help you decide it's instructive or it's explanatory or whatever tone it is that you think the author is using. Next, look for rhetorical devices that the author is using to appeal to the reader. Things that we've been talking about all year. I only list a few here. There are a myriad of devices that we've discussed that I know you're able to identify. Next, I want you to think about and find how the rhetorical device illustrates, enhances, or connects to the purpose. It is not enough to simply identify the rhetorical device. You need to explain how the rhetorical device illustrates, enhances, or connects to the purpose. In my discussion with AP scorers, one of the things they say is students who are adequate will identify a rhetorical device. Students that have an effective essay will explain how that rhetorical device is effective. Finally, look for particularly effective portions of the text. We'll talk more about this tomorrow when we talk about embedding quotations, but I want you to find portions that are like a eureka moment for you, that moment that you really understand the purpose of the text. Those are probably pretty effective portions. Okay, there's no do not slide here, it's just please do. Please, while you're reading, do include quotes that are fewer than 3 lines for support. We're going to talk more about embedding quotations, but please don't include big block quotes when you respond to the prompt. In addition, make sure you're explaining your rhetorical devices. Don't just identify them. Include warrants. Remember our little bridge image? Your warrant is connecting the author's purpose to the rhetorical devices that he uses. It's not enough to simply say that the author uses rhetorical devices to strengthen his purpose. You have to describe for the reader why and how the author does this. Finally, think about evaluating the author's success. In general, these authors are successful at achieving their purposes. The AP picks texts that are well written. But you want to point out the portions that you think the author reveals particular success or effectiveness in his writing. Now, while you're brainstorming, or excuse me, when you're getting ready to write these essays, please brainstorm. Remember, you're not showing up for that hot date without showering. For at least 2 of the essays, read and find the topic for 2 prompts. Start reading the texts and annotating for particularly effective rhetorical devices. And be sure to identify the purpose before you start writing your essay. You want to do all of this prep work so that writing your analysis essay is that much easier and more effective. This has been our first analysis screencast. I originally delivered this PowerPoint on Monday, April 27th, and posted it to my website on the same day. Thank you.